5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
You are listening to Stay Tuned, El Paso.
With Victor Cruz, Charlie, and Erica.
The best thing to happen to El Paso ever.
The Truth Bomb.
Episode 32?
32.
It's Stay Tuned, El Paso, Victor Cruz, Charlie Modeno. Erica is not with us, unfortunately, tonight, because this was a sort of a last-minute episode edition that we were going to do, and she could not get the night off. So trust us, Erica wishes she could be a part of this, because this is going to be a very, very special episode. Stay tuned, El Paso. Always remember, hashtag STEP stands for Stay Tuned, El Paso. Very special guest in the studio with us. It's Kayla. And Kayla, I know I'm going to mispronounce your last name.
Yeah. Can you do it for us?
Lillebo? Lillebo?
Lillebo.
Yeah.
Don't be nervous. This is just a silly little podcast. It's nothing major going on. Don't worry. But Kayla's with us. Charlie, I am so surprised that you...
Excuse me!
Who is that?
Oh, here we go.
Hello.
What are you doing here?
I got invited, duh.
It's one of the most hated women.
And the crowd boos. We have this annoying neighbor upstairs. He likes to stomp around, so as we record here in my apartment, could you give us a couple more excuse me's just because?
Would you like some right now?
Yeah, please.
Pretend they're having...
Excuse me!
Yeah, that's it.
Excuse me!
Yeah, that's it.
There
Do
we
I
go.
have to say? Vickie Guerrero, everybody.
Vickie, thank you so
Hi.
much for
Hey!
coming in.
Good to be here.
Oh, you set off Ello. There goes Ello. Good. Let her bark. The neighbor's a jerk anyway.
This was a very impromptu show. Last minute, I didn't get a chance to do any show prep besides the booing.
That's pretty much all you need,
That's
though.
pretty much
I like
all.
the booing. I am used to that.
Is that a cougar?
Yeah, I knew she was. I was like,
Cougar.
I hope
I
she's
like
wearing the
that.
necklace. Is she?
Arr.
No necklace.
I didn't bring it.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Okay.
But I do have the necklace at the hotel. I do have it, you know.
You didn't pawn it? Not
No.
yet? No? Okay.
Hotel? You're from here. You live here. Why are you staying at a hotel? You got
It's quiet.
places to be. You got family to hang out with.
It's quiet.
Vickie Guerrero's actually in town, and it's sort of been a reverse thing for us here. I wanted to surprise you with Vickie.
You were
Charlie.
trying to surprise me.
And I knew I could. I knew once it got leaked that Vickie was going to be in town.
Oh, I knew before.
Yeah, I knew there was no way.
Knowing you, it was either going to be somebody from Las Vegas or a wrestler. And it didn't take much mental math to figure out that Vickie has ties to here. And if it was somebody from Vegas, it would probably be the pawn shop guy on the reality show. And I have tons of questions about pawn shops, so I figured I'll research Vickie.
You go either way.
I'll go with Vickie.
The third choice would have been the dark horse, and that would have been Khalid. That would have been the surprise.
Don't be racist.
Well, I didn't mean it that way. But it's pretty hilarious how it worked out that you actually brought in Kayla. Now, Kayla, we all in the wrestling community sort of know about you and what you do.
Yeah.
And what you've been through. So to have you show up with Vickie, have you met Vickie before?
I've actually met her twice. One of them she probably doesn't remember because it was at WrestleMania 28. But then I met her last year at WrestleCon.
And now, did you have any idea? Did Charlie approach you just to come on the podcast?
A few hours ago, literally.
Right.
What had
that's
happened was that I was at my house, and my girlfriend actually texted me saying, you need to look at your phone right now. Like, you got a message, and you need to look at it. So I open it up, and I see the message, and I tell my mom, like, should I do it? She's like, well, I'm not sure. My mom's, like, really old school. So she's
bald fat guy messaged you on your Facebook.
I would worry.
Going to somebody else's apartment? I don't think so.
Good job, Mom.
Yeah, so she was like, well, if you feel like you should do it, then go. And then my brother-in-law had actually told me about you a lot, saying there's a guy on the radio that likes wrestling.
What?
And I'm like, oh, okay.
Who's that? Who knows me? Now I'm paranoid. Yeah. Somebody call my mama. I'm scarred.
So then I was like, okay, I'll come do it. So, yeah, I was not expecting this.
The true comedy of all of this is Charlie did to me and Vickie what Vickie and I was going to do to Charlie. We were going to keep her outside the door.
I win again.
We were going to have...
Don't worry, the year's not over yet, Charlie, okay?
She's coming back in town.
No, but actually, when I met Kayla, it was really nice because, of course, there was the convention going on. There's a lot of fans. But when she said, I'm from El Paso, everything just stopped. I was like, what? You're from El Paso? So...
like that.
That's
wow.
Yeah.
Thanks, Charlie. That was
more of a car crash.
Yeah. It was actually not a car crash. It was really nice.
It was an enlightening moment.
Yeah. No, but we hit it off and we got to be on, followers on Twitter, and she's just awesome. I love her smile and just her energy was great. So I feel like this is great for me, and
I'm still shocked. I don't even know,
Well, let me take a step backwards with you. Take a moment, gather yourself, take a
She's
deep breath.
I know.
I'm usually not speechless because I talk a lot, but right now I'm kind of like...
You can breathe, too. It's okay.
She has, she walked in right before the podcast, and I mean right before the podcast started, and it was almost like she walked through the door and then hit a wall, because I saw her whole body just jump out. Oh, wow. There's Vickie. But take a moment, we can spend 45 minutes, an hour talking with Vic and have all these great stories, but tell us a little bit about you and your situation for those who don't know about your channel and what you've gone through.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
Let me just add a little context.
Sure.
Because what happened is you were going to try to surprise me with Vickie being on the show, and we had talked before a year ago about who would be our
star,
the interviews that we want, and you were one of those.
Thank you.
And so when he was trying to surprise me, I figured it out, and I said I have to research. I have to look up Vickie, and I went on YouTube and I watched a couple of videos. I'm a huge Opie and Anthony fan, so I saw some Sam Roberts videos, and then I came across Kayla's video, and I watched the first part of it where she mentioned she was from El Paso, and one of the questions she asked you in that video was if she had Chico's Tacos, and that's how the interview ended. Excuse me! And I went to her YouTube channel, and I saw that she was from El Paso and that she was a cancer survivor. I used to work at Candlelighters of El Paso, so I used to work with a lot of children that were ill, and I have a huge soft spot in my heart for that. So I contacted her on Facebook, and I pretended that we had a guest cancel, and I said, hey, you have a YouTube channel on wrestling. Victor's a fan of wrestling. Would you come down and be our standby guest in case that person can't make it? And so that's basically what I did. So that explains why she's here, because I wanted to surprise her with
very
that.
Very clever, Charlie.
You deduced that it was probably going to be Vickie. You weren't 99% sure, and all I have to say is, aren't you glad it wasn't Khalid? Because this would have been so awkward. Think that Vickie showed up.
It would have been
Who would you
really
have picked,
strange.
Khalid or me?
You.
A good answer.
Well, only because we've asked Khalid's people and they keep saying no. They say wait till
I have a beef with Khalid's PR person.
They keep saying wait till the record sales start to slow down. We need the promotion. But you're in town, so
happy Easter.
Thank you.
That's how it goes.
I made it convenient for you, so I'm happy about that.
So
pretty much.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but Kayla, tell us, what is your story and how are you?
Okay, so I started YouTube when I was 9. And it was just for fun. Like, obviously a 9-year-old doesn't know what they're doing on YouTube. And so I would make videos like top 5 favorite like Eddie Guerrero moments or like stuff like that, Rey Mysterio, because Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio are the reason I started watching. And so I would make videos, and they were just bad. So I stopped. I couldn't reach past 10 views. So I was like, okay, I'm not doing this anymore.
Kind of like this podcast.
It was you on your laptop, on your MacBook, on the phone.
Literally. So I was like, okay, I'm going to stop. So my senior year, I was getting ready to go to start my senior year at Franklin. And basically a week before my senior year, I ended up passing out, and I got diagnosed with leukemia. And so, of course, being in the hospital, I missed my whole senior year. And then since I was bored all the time, just staying in the hospital Providence for 4 months straight, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start the channel again. If it sucks, it sucks. If it's good, then I'll keep it going. And so I created the channel, and it was going good. And then I just kept going through my treatment. And then what happened next? I met John Cena for my Make-A-Wish, and that's when kind of my channel skyrocketed. So then when I started...
Just a little bit?
Just a little bit. Because he does an intro for all my videos where he goes, this is WWE Superstar and 15-time champ, and you're watching Miss W Fan 13, and we're both standing next to each other. So I'm pretty sure that helped. So as my channel got bigger, I was like, I want to start interviewing wrestlers.
Let me just pause you for Charlie. John Cena is a big name in the WWE.
I have connections.
I have to catch him up to certain things because sometimes he doesn't know.
Is he the owner of the?
No. Well, it depends
Really,
on who
Charlie?
you ask. But
He's the owner of what?
That's one of the reasons I wanted to bring Kayla, because I have no idea what you guys are going to talk about. She's just here to fill in for me.
She's going to ask the questions to Vic. I got you.
Take it over, Kayla.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So then
I've never seen him before.
Oh my gosh.
2, 3, 4.
Oldest joke ever.
There it is.
So the first person I thought about interviewing was Vickie, but I was like, you know what, this is a long shot. Like, she's not gonna read my message. Like, 'cause I think you were doing like college or something. I think you were doing like college or
I was in school.
something. So I was like, you know what, she's probably too busy. So I was like, but I'll just email her anyways. So I emailed you and I was like, oh, okay. She never responded, so I was like, okay, whatever. Like, so then we get to WrestleCon and I go up to you and when I say, oh, I'm from El Paso, and then you're like, wait, you emailed me. And then that's when we set up the whole interview, and then everyone loved that, and so it just kept getting more and more exposure, and yeah.
Tell us about the YouTube channel, though. Now it doesn't suck.
Right.
How many followers do you have?
You're getting more than 10 views per video now,
Yeah.
right?
Way more, yeah.
So how many subscribers do you have?
I just reached 44,180 last time I checked.
Yeah.
Literally, that's more than Jesus. Jesus has less.
that many. And
Very
Easter's coming up.
That's very impressive.
And so, what do you talk about now on the YouTube channel? Do you still discuss wrestling, or you talk about anything else going on?
The channel's solely for wrestling, but I do a lot of like unboxings because if like my room is covered in figures, posters, the replica belts, and everything. So I do unboxings of that. I do toy hunts at the store. I do like obviously when I go to WrestleMania or I do the VIP experience for WWE, I record there. Or I do like predictions, and sometimes I'll talk about like what's going on in the show.
Yeah. So do you talk about obviously the WWE? Do you do any of the other wrestling factions, TNA, anything else? Or are you strictly WWE?
I used to in the past, but like I know New Japan Pro Wrestling's like good and stuff, but I just haven't had time to like actually go watch it. WWE is more convenient to watch because it's on TV. There's the WWE Network, so.
And do you go further into the old school stuff? You know, we were talking about people my age. We were into the Hulk Hogans. We were into the Rowdy Pipers. Do you go into the original old school guys, or you stay new? When
I meet people, they always like say, "Oh, I bet you don't know about this or that," and I'm like, "No, I do." Like, I'll tell them like the whole history of the thing of whatever they're asking, and they're like, "What? How old are you?" I'm like, 22, and they're like, "What?" So
now the second part is, as far as the leukemia goes. How are things going there for you now?
I got my last treatment on July 4th, 2016, and since then I go every 3 months to the oncology clinic, and everything's been fine. So
Good.
That's awesome.
Good. We've seen you a couple of times, whether you know it or not. I was talking about it before the podcast started. It's amazing how the wrestling community, especially here in El Paso, and I think worldwide, the WWE universe, but everybody kind of sort of knows everybody. Standing over here off on the side is a dear friend of mine, Ray Navarro, who's here to see Vickie, and you know Ray, and Ray knows me, and we all kind of sort of know each other, and I think that's an amazing thing. We see you at the house show. How many house shows have you gone to?
My very first house show was when like Jeff Hardy and Edge were having like their feud.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
In Las Cruces. So, and I think that's also like when Chris Jericho was facing Rey Mysterio for like the mask. Like, I can't remember exactly, but ever since then I've gone every year. I mean, like every time they come except for one time. So
did you go to this most recent one?
No, that's the one time I didn't go.
This is the one time you didn't go.
Yeah, because of WrestleMania.
This was the absolute best one. I'm so sorry you didn't go. I'm just kidding.
I'm nodding my head yes, like I know what you guys are talking about. Yeah, sure.
It'll tie you in for
okay.
you. It'll come. Do you go? Were you stalking? Sorry, Vickie, I hate to say this. Were you stalking the wrestlers at the airport too? Do you do any of that when they come?
No.
Good job.
I have a thing about that. It's like I'd rather pay to go and
get their information
on the web.
Honestly, not
wow,
me. But
I am worried about you, Charlie.
I know some people like that, and that's why I prefer not to be like that.
Yeah, he's right there, Kayla.
Yeah, I know. You're looking right at him. The guy without the cap. Because I know I did that one time. It was one thing that I wanted to do.
And you bragged about that today.
I'm pulling the pictures up, babe.
Yeah,
I'm showing you. Bray Wyatt, man. Bray was the best.
You're the people that we would dart from at the airport. Yeah.
I have one story for the main reason why I don't do it.
Oh, that sounds good.
I'm ready.
I hear court order.
Oh my gosh. So I think it might have been like 2 years ago for WrestleMania. Let's see, that would have been Dallas, I think.
Right.
And
I wasn't invited to that one.
Oh. And then
moving on.
I was on the same flight as RVD. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's him. But I was wearing a Rey Mysterio shirt. I'm like, there was one empty seat next to us. So like, there's no way he's going to sit next to us because he sees a Rey Mysterio shirt. And so he went to the very back, like by himself. And when we got off the plane, I was like, you know what? I'm going to meet him at WrestleCon. Should I bother him? Should I not? Because I always had a thing of like, wrestlers deserve their privacy and they shouldn't be bothered. So I've like, you can see all my pictures. I've never bothered anyone outside of like at a restaurant or anything. And people started like bombarding RVD. And the first thing he says, guys, let me just go to the bathroom and I will come out and sign everything. So I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad. I'll just pay to meet you at WrestleCon.
Aw, he's a good guy, though.
Yeah, he's super nice.
He's really nice.
I've heard most of these people are just great people.
Yes, Charlie, we are very nice.
You guys are real people.
Yes.
It was one of the...
Victor, I'm very worried about this guy sitting
No, he's
across.
okay. He's cool.
Yeah.
Trust me. I know where he lives. Don't worry.
Yeah.
He had a fall one time. It's a traumatic brain injury.
That's what happened to the hair. Vicki and I were...
I fell 360 degrees.
Vicki and I were talking about it. It's so funny, and I know it happened a lot with her here because a couple of times that the wife and I went out to have dinner or lunch with you while you were still living in El Paso, people would recognize you. Mm-hmm. And it was always funny to me. The greatest story is, and I don't know if you remember, but was it the first time you met her, or we just went to go eat?
We went to sushi, right?
Yes.
Yes. Sonny's Sushi. I remember that.
And Sonny's Sushi, the owner of Sonny's, kept walking by, and as it was a lunch. It was early
lunch,
dinner.
Right? Yeah.
And we're eating, and the owner kept walking by, and no, we're fine, thank you, we're okay. And finally, she leans over and she says to Vicki, "I know who you are." And we were like, okay. And then she asked, after we finished, "Do you mind if some of the cooks come out and take pictures with you?" And she said, "Yeah, absolutely. We're going to finish eating, and we'll let the cooks come out." We looked over into the kitchen, and through the little porthole, you could see the cooks just like coming
10
out.
10 people just standing there waiting for me to finish eating.
All their faces. And I think we even left you because you were busy taking pictures.
Well, and there was a whole wall, right? See, like they just
the whole
pictures of just
the whole restaurant inside now is full, but we left you, and these cooks are out like doing karate poses with Vicki, punches. I'm like, we gotta go. But it was always amazing to me that you would get recognized here. Do you still get recognized as Vickie Guerrero?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, it's always been bad. Even in Houston, I thought I was going to be left alone, but the grocery store, we walking and 2 aisles down, like someone's yelling, "Excuse me." I'm like, oh my gosh.
Does it get annoying?
No, it doesn't. I think what's more annoying is that when people follow us around and you see them like looking around the corner, you're just like looking and
you're thinking, just say hi.
Yeah.
Don't start creeping on me. And
I tell Chris, my husband, I'm like, let's just go say hi because get it over with so that way I can just get my shopping done. But it's fine. I mean, the fans are just, curious and scared to talk. And then when they come up to you, they just want to stand there and stare at you. And I'm like, hello?
What are some moments where you really feel uncomfortable? Like if you're eating or...
Oh, I'll tell you a good story. Yeah. I don't know if I ever told you this, Victor, but we were, I guess, we're in some place. I'm not even sure it was, but I went to the bathroom. And I was going to the bathroom, and this girl stuck a note and pen under the stall and said, when you get a chance, can you sign this for me? I'm like, how about we wash our hands first, and then I will get right to that autograph. And she laughed. She was like so embarrassed, and I was like, I got left in peace. But that was kind of weird.
We were talking, Vic, with stalking the WWE superstars or any of the wrestlers, I guess, that would come into town, and Charlie saying, things are uncomfortable. But and saying that most of these people are very approachable. And I got to tell you, the couple of times or the one time, really, to be honest with you, that I've done that, Bray Wyatt, who's one of my absolute favorites, easily approachable. I got greedy, and I even told him, "Dude, I'm going to get greedy. Can I get 2 or 3 pictures?" And he was sure, yeah, okay, no problem.
Sweetheart.
And again, most of these guys, and they don't stay in character. There are those I get that would stay into it, but would you say for the most part, the wrestlers do appreciate somebody coming up and saying, "Can I get a picture? Do you mind if?"
Yeah, because I think when you're in public and you're in that spotlight and people aren't recognizing you or they don't care, you have to worry. Because that's when the fans don't really care who you are. They don't care about your character anymore. So I really believe that you should give respect to the fans first, because without the fans, we can't do this.
How many times do you think, and we'll stick with WWE, how many times do you think a WWE character changes or modifies before they get to become that recognizable or that character? Do you think even you sort of modified the Vickie character a couple of times?
I'm probably a good 5 to 10 times. They kind of try different things, whether you're a baby or a heel, or if you're going to fall in love with someone, or if you can be in a tag team. I mean, there's so many elements, and they kind of move you around to different scenarios, and whatever sticks, and they think, okay, this is what's going to work for you.
So let's go to the beginnings then. Let's talk about, I think, the history of Vickie, and of course the history of the Guerreros in El Paso, and how Eddie got into the WWE. Because again, Eddie had been one of those that bounced around from different organizations. How did it really all start for Eddie and Vickie Guerrero?
Well, I mean, for Eddie, it started since he was a baby. I mean, because instead of a swing set in their backyard, they had a wrestling ring. So I mean, there was no choice for the brothers and cousins. They all loved wrestling, so they were playing in the wrestling ring before they looked at any other kind of sports. So
was this in the Lower Valley?
No, it was right by Jefferson High School. So his mom lived on Huerta Street.
Ah, okay.
So that was like the big thing was all the kids came and played on the wrestling ring.
Yeah.
So this goes back as far as the old, Gory Guerreros, right? Chavo. I mean, these are the old school guys.
His dad was promoting.
Town.
Yeah, his dad promoted in the Coliseum and then also in Juarez. So, yeah, it was just a love that Eddie felt. So he always loved the sport. So he followed his brother's footsteps, and it was a family career.
The type of wrestling that Eddie did here. And even in the WWE, WCW to a certain point, and all the other places, is luchador style, style, which is really, really different than normal wrestling style.
Oh yeah, I mean especially the junior heavyweights. I mean they do more acrobatics, and there's just a style like from Mexico they can do circles around these bigger guys in the ring that they don't even know what these guys are doing. Like Rey Mysterio, Chris Jericho, Dean Malenko, and Eddie. They just had this style where they just danced around each other, and it was magic, I mean, and some of these bigger guys that weren't from Mexico or even trained there, they didn't even know how to handle them. So I think the littler guy always had the advantage because they had an art and they had just a style that none of the guys could touch him.
I think that was this is big time inside wrestling geek stuff, but I think that was the major influence over WCW as well during the Monday Night Wars, is that they had these cruiserweights, if you will, these junior heavyweights at best, and these guys did have that luchador style, and they could flip and fly and jump off the ring and do these things that even now the WWE doesn't really do too much of. Maybe they have the cruiserweight division.
Well, they have the 205 Live, which is pretty close to it.
Right.
But even the little guys in WCW were discriminated because everyone wanted to see the big guy, the muscles and the tall,
oily,
and that
big chest.
When you really look at the wrestling industry,
hard nipples.
He's kidding.
I'm just thinking, gosh, who is this guy, Victor?
So you do watch. So you have seen
in my underwear.
Look, he's sweating on his forehead.
I have to tell you,
headphones are hot.
Yeah. I honestly, we've talked about this in previous podcasts. Charlie is actually a big MMA.
Weirdo?
Yeah. Well, number one, you should know that already.
I used to wrestle in high school. Yeah. I usually didn't do well.
He was a jobber.
I lost after I came.
Jello fights? Oh, I can show you some mud fights if you need some moves. Okay.
I saw the fight of you.
Whatever. Okay, whatever.
Was it pudding, but it smelled bad?
It was
Stephanie McMahon?
Yes, Charlie. Yes, it was a very disgusting. It was dog food
oh my gosh.
And pudding and flour and they had to make it. It smelled bad.
Yeah.
Charlie is a big time MMA, UFC.
Used to be, not so much.
Yeah, used to be. So he can sort of appreciate the WWE and the theatrics.
I used to watch wrestling when I was a kid. I don't know. I've tried to follow it since then. I just can't get into it. And
hey, that's okay.
yeah, that's fine.
You're still weird.
I'm fine. Me and Vic are still friends.
Yeah, well.
I don't know why we're beefing, but yeah, I'm fine with that.
You said hard nipples and these headphones are getting hot.
I was talking about Brock Lesnar.
He's a Brock fan, to be honest. Are you still under contract with WWE?
No, but I do. When I'm invited, I always go back for them. That's just my second family, But things have changed so much there that I see other opportunities for me, and I want to try these other opportunities. It's time.
I want to come to those real quick. And as we are recording on a Wednesday night, the real reason why you're in town, obviously you're doing some family things, you're visiting family and friends, and we've been hanging out all day, and I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you doing that, but we were actually doing a lot of promotional work for you because...
Thank you for that.
As we record...
I really came to see your wife, Z, but...
I know you haven't seen her in a few years. And Ello dog.
Poor Ello's in the room.
Yeah. But why the reason why you are here, as we were talking about Eddie and stuff, is because of the event that's coming up tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow at Lincoln Park at 4:00. Eric Dubitsky is going to be painting my mural under the spaghetti bowl, so I'm really excited.
Joining Eddie on the mural.
Yes, I don't know exactly where he's placing us, but he's going to be doing the girls, Sherilyn and Shaw, and Chavo Jr. and Mondo and Hector. So he has it all planned out.
That's great.
Yeah,
and that's going to be at Lincoln Park. And if people are listening to this now, I don't know how soon you'll get up and have this posted.
I'll put it up tonight.
But it's going to be happening tomorrow at 4:00. The actual painting.
Yes.
And you'll be available for meet and greet.
I will be there. I'll sign autographs and say hi to the fans and support Eric and watch the painting of my face.
And if any,
on the mural.
Just your face?
I think so. Yeah. I don't know.
Is he?
We all looked over at Chris for a second. Chris, just a face? Yeah, okay. You have to get approval from her manager.
If they put my butt on there, they need more mural than that.
Don't.
They're gonna run out of wall.
Thank you. Well, gee, Charlie, you just had to go there, didn't
I didn't
you?
say it. Once again, remember
For a change, I'm the heel now.
Yeah. Remember the last podcast? My wife is sitting right over there. So, and possibly back again in the summertime for dedication or for finishing off the mural that needs to be whatever else.
Right, yeah, and I'll come back and watch the rest of his work. But I wanted to start coming back to El Paso more frequently just to see family and do other projects. We were talking earlier, I can't say which projects, but El Paso's my home, and I just driving in yesterday, I was missing it so much. So I'm excited about coming back.
You're living in South Texas now?
Houston, Charlie.
Houston? Oh, I don't know how much information you want me to put out. I don't know if anyone's stalking
Houston's a pretty big city.
Well, if you look at my social media, which you're not familiar with, it says Houston, Texas as my home.
I brought a stringer.
Even Kayla knew where I live.
But Kayla gets too excited. She shuts down. It's just me and Vicky doing the thing.
I know. I think it was when the I think like the tornado or not tornado, hurricanes or something.
Hurricane Harvey, yeah.
Yeah. That's when I messaged you saying it'd be like, oh, you guys were okay and stuff.
Yeah.
Aw, how sweet.
Wow, I feel
Yeah,
bad.
Charlie, that's a friendship, okay?
That's called empathy.
I didn't even message her. Well,
You did not. That is right. Well, not even my dad messaged me, so it's okay.
You have to mark yourself safe on Facebook. That's how it works nowadays.
Yeah.
Why would that matter to you? You're not even on there with me, so it's okay.
It's just for entertainment.
This is going
This interview is scripted.
Yeah. This is going swimmingly. It's been pre-approved.
I'm not losing any sleep tonight. Because we didn't bond. No cortisol here.
Also, you do get out. The wrestling part of you now is not your main focus. You actually do have another job, a legit job. But is wrestling starting to come back to you now?
It is. And, every day I've missed it. So to know that I was able to have more bookings and appearances, on the weekends, and I could be home during the week, it did beat out the 9-to-5 job, actually 7-to-6 job.
Yeah.
And, so it was more appealing. And I got to be back with the fans and, have some fun roles with other promotions. So I've been having a good time.
The downside or the negative side of all of this is, and you've avoided that, and I'm trying to mark my words carefully so that it's not to offend anybody else who would be listening, but sometimes the true nature of the beast is once a wrestling career is over, and especially for a lot of the older wrestlers, they can't get into something new and different. Mm-hmm. Has the WWE now taken a look at that and realized, we need to help these guys into something else? A lot of the older guys are now backstage bookers. A lot of them are doing things within the company instead of, and the movie with Mickey Rourke, the wrestler comes to mind. Yeah, that guy.
I knew that one.
Yeah. I'm surprised they got Mickey Rourke out. But I mean, is the WWE and the wrestling industry in of itself taking care of these people now?
No.
Really?
I mean, when you leave, I left on my own. I wanted to pursue, the medical career and to be able to do other things in life. So when superstars get fired, they don't know how to handle that because that's all they've had all their life is wrestling. So
you scrape and fight to get to this certain point, and then once you're there, that's it. Yeah,
and then a new wave of new faces come in, and the old guys kind of get phased down, and there's new people coming in. So it is a concern, when you see guys leave, and I have a lot of friends that I've seen that can't adjust to this normal life or find a regular job because they've been wrestlers all their life. So some get college degrees and some have backup plans, but when you don't, I didn't want to be one of those that didn't know what to do after wrestling. So I was preparing myself. So I planned a lot to be out of it.
After wrestling, did you think you were going to get back into it?
No.
After you left?
I was ready to leave. I thought that's my time to leave and I can pursue other things.
You're listening to Stay Tuned to El Paso, #STEP. Our guest today is Vickie Guerrero. And Kayla, I'm going to mess up your last name one more time. Don't forgive me for it.
Lillebo.
We're going to take a quick break. We're coming right back.
April 28th, El Paso Altwear presents Shibari.
The art of Japanese rope bondage.
This is a beginner's class for adults 21 and up. Reserve tickets on sale now, starting at $30 per person. Don't forget April 28th.
Shibari.
For more information, go to nequiumevents.com, 915-227-1871, or see show notes for the link. Shibari. Hey ladies, are you looking for a unique and intimate gift for that special someone? Are you ready to pamper yourself with a professional team to create some amazing photography? Then empower yourself with a pinup or boudoir photo shoot by Nequium Photography. You have what it takes. You're a confident, sexy, and powerful woman. Schedule a time for your photo shoot at 915-227-1871 or visit nequiumphoto.com. You can also check the show notes for the link.
You're listening to Stay Tuned El Paso. It's Victor Cruz, Charlie Moreno, and Erica, who is not joining us tonight because this was such a impromptu and quote-unquote emergency podcast. But Erica would have loved to have been with you, Vic. She's a huge... She won't admit it, but I think she's a huge wrestling fan as well. So, Erica, shout out to you. Sorry you couldn't join us.
Hello, Erica.
How long were you? That
was an awkward pause.
Yeah, I know. Well, I was. I'm trying to find. I was waiting for Erica to say hello back. How long were you and Eddie together?
25 years.
25 years. And so, were you pulled into the wrestling as well with him, or did you try to keep that separate?
We always want to keep it separate. The reason that I started working with him was for the Rey Mysterio child custody. Remember that, Kayla, with Dominic?
Right.
And so
that was the big secret that he was going to reveal.
Yeah, if he was the father or not. And Eddie and Ray kept the story for like probably 6 to 8 months. And then Vince McMahon had the idea, well, let's bring in the families to make this really real, to make the fans really think that this was going to, go over really well. So they brought the girls in, Shaw and Sherilyn, and me and myself, and then Angie and Dominic came in later, and it was really convincing. I mean, we had, our cousins and aunts saying, "Oh my gosh, Eddie slept with someone else. And he has a son. We didn't know this." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I'm really shocked about all this."
I'll tell you more how I feel next week when I read the next.
Stay tuned on Raw.
The next script.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm supposed to think about this, but wait for the script to come out. But no, I protected the business, and this was something that was, it was really hot, and it was going really well. So when we brought the girls in, and they would cry on cue, and they weren't scared of the crowd. Vince was like, okay, they brought them out for rehearsal and said, "There's gonna be a lot of people here, and just watch your mom and dad, and when you see that cue, just start crying." And when they did, he's like, "Oh my gosh, like this is going to be great." So we came back, other weeks until it led up to SummerSlam. And then, but I was always used to performing, as cheerleading in high school and band and stuff. So performing in front of people didn't bother me. But, when it led up to the pay-per-view and I was able to push Eddie off the ladder, I was like, "Oh, yeah, this is every wife's dream."
It was a 12-foot ladder, for God's sakes.
But, it was a thrill. And that's when I started falling in love with it. But that's all I did. And then when Eddie passed away, I pretty much was walking away from everything until I inducted Eddie. And then they called me in probably that July of 2006 and said, do you want to try some storylines with Rey Mysterio and Chris Jericho and Chris Benoit? And I was like, yeah, I'll go back, because I didn't know how I was going to support the girls.
Right.
I was home, raising them. So when I was able to do this and they started catching on that I could go out in the ring and do a promo, they would write these huge scripts and I was able to memorize them, and I was comfortable in front of the camera. They were like, "I think we want to keep you on."
And where did the heat come from? Where did being a heel, was that all part of it? Because you're talking about one of the greatest wrestlers ever, Eddie Guerrero, and people are booing you.
Yeah, that was just, I think they hated me because I was Eddie's wife coming on the show, and they thought that I was just riding on his coattails. And I probably have to admit, the first 3 months, I was like, yeah, I'm probably here because I'm Eddie's wife. But after a while, when I'm doing these other angles with Edge and Dolph Ziggler, and I'm actually proving myself that I'm doing this all by myself, I knew that I had a right to be there, and I could do this.
Did you want to become a wrestler? In this part of the storyline, was there? I know there was time that you would come out and do certain things, but and I don't want to say divas, but at the time they were divas. Did you want to become a diva and get as physical as they were, or were you okay being the manager, the heel?
I wanted to be the general manager of the show. The divas, they were there to be beautiful, and at that time they were wearing bikinis, and they were the TNA, so to speak, the show. And I didn't have the body. That was not my intention at all. So when Vince saw that I could have an official role and work with other superstars, and then when I got to turn and be a heel with Edge, and we started this this whole I don't know what you call it, role modeling, where Edge needed me to, get him championships, and I could use him, because he was the cute young guy. It was hot, it was just clicking every week. So Vince was like, "You don't need to be a diva, you'll be a superstar."
Where did "Excuse Me" come from? What the greatest catch? You don't even have music to accompany you when you come out into the ring.
No, I know, it's kind of boring.
This is, I know this one.
Yeah. Where did "Excuse Me" come from?
It was not on purpose, right?
No, I was working the wheelchair because I was supposedly hurt, and I went to the stage.
What do you mean supposedly? You weren't hurt?
It's still real to me, damn it!
I thought you were hurt. Was there a problem?
It's the torn meniscus.
I had a headache. They put me in a wheelchair.
That's how it works on the WWE.
I didn't know.
I got a paper cut.
So
put him in a cast.
The show always came out around 4:30. We went live around 7, and they gave me this 2-page promo that I had to memorize. I had it memorized, ready to go, and Vince decided to change something. He didn't like it. And the writers came back and said, "Oh, we changed a couple of things." Well, a couple of things ended up being a whole new promo that I had probably 10 minutes to go out and memorize it.
Right.
Ended up just screwing it all up. I got lost, and I kind of sat there, and the fans were throwing fingers at me, and they were like, "You don't know what you're talking about. You forgot." And they were right. And I just kind of said, "Excuse me," and I kept saying that, and they just got really upset with me because I was saying that.
They started booing you. And
Yeah, booing me and just telling me, get off the stage. And so the writer's like, we really like how they hated you. And I was like, you're kidding me, right? Because, I mean, when you go back to Gorilla, you face Vince. And he tells you exactly what he thinks. And he's like, I know you forgot your promo. And I'm like, yes, sir, I did. And he's
explain what Gorilla is for those who don't.
Oh, Gorilla is this room that you stand in before they count you down before you go on the stage. And Vince, Triple H, there's producers, the agents, and they have like 12 monitors. And it's pretty much like the pit of the show where, they tell you last minute changes. But then when you go on to the stage and you do your thing, you have to come back and they evaluate how you did that night. And that's pretty stressful when you forget a promo that they just wrote for you.
Yeah.
So I kind of gathered myself and just did the promo the best I could. But the excuse me kind of pissed off the crowd. And the writer's like, hey, we like this. Let's try this the next night. And it just started being this ritual I did, and it caught on.
Was Vince upset that you forgot those lines, or was he more happy that your line worked?
Oh, he was pissed.
He was pissed?
Oh, yeah. This was live. I mean, there was no way I could go back to the stage and say the promo again. But when he saw that this excuse me was, developing, but they didn't believe it for like a month, because you go to a different city, every city hates or loves you, so they really didn't believe that this excuse me was going to work. But it did, and I kept up with it, and then...
And you were doubtful too, right? You thought next time that they asked you to do it, you kind of told them, well, I'm not sure if it's going to work this time.
Yeah, I mean, there's doubts, but mentally in my mind, every time they gave me a huge promo, I'm really nervous because I'm going to screw this one up too. So that was my whole job was promos.
What would happen if you messed up the line? Excuse me, pardon me. Like, does it work the same?
How can you mess up two words, Charlie?
Allow me to.
How do you mess up two words?
You messed up the promo. You tell me.
Yeah, the promo. Yeah.
Surely though, but there have been some. I don't want to mention this is the old schooler Shockmaster. That's all I'm going to say. How much worse could it get? Shockmaster. And that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I think I know that one too.
Things can go very bad very quickly.
Yeah.
So, which hence the acronym. Is it an acronym when you use letters to say something?
I think so.
Yeah. DFIU.
I have a GTU. I don't know.
DFIU.
Yes.
Is something that is used frequently.
And we remind each other every time we'd write. Yes.
I can no longer say it, but explain what DFIU is.
Can I say it on here?
Yeah, it's a podcast.
You can say whatever
you can.
Kayla, close your ears.
Okay.
Cover your ears. No.
Something that the wrestlers would tell each other before they started a Raw, a SmackDown.
Yes.
You would say DFIU, and that means
don't fuck it up.
Yeah. So
and I got told that many times after that promo. It was nervous. I mean, I'm the rookie, and to do that's something you worry about. You're going to get a call Wednesday when you fly home saying we don't need you anymore.
So that promo that you messed up that first time where the excuse me line came out. How many people were in the audience that night?
We sold out that night.
So what? 30,000?
20?
Wherever the venue would be.
Yeah, it would depend. I mean, we probably performed between 18 and 25,000.
So that's
and TV.
That's
probably
just
TV.
a live audience, and then you still have millions probably.
Yes, Charlie,
watch.
it was a very hard night that night. I didn't sleep. Is there anything else you want to point out to me?
But can you remember the promo right now? Can you do it?
No, but I remember sweating like you are right now on your forehead.
These headphones
the
are
only
hot.
The only thing that was different is I didn't get hard nipples, okay?
Excuse me?
Yeah, it was a long night.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you miss the TV? Because I got to tell you, we number 16. I said this on the air earlier. Were you with me? Number 16. Surprising, making those appearances, those excuse me moments. I remember when Raw 25 happened, March, February, whenever, or January maybe.
Yeah.
Raw 25 came out. I remember messaging you asking, "Are we going to see you in Raw? Are we going to see you Raw 25?" And your
Negative,
response,
Ghost Rider.
Yeah, your response was no. But there's bigger things happening, and we have these huge pay-per-view parties. Friends come over, we sit and goof on everything. It's so much fun. But when the divas, or I'm sorry, I shouldn't say it that way, the women's Royal Rumble came out, and you were entrant number 16. All of us in the room said, "Oh, okay." You missed that sort of surprise aspect of coming out and doing that?
Oh, I was loving it that week. I mean, I think I told my husband Chris, I'm like, I'm really excited about this. I mean, I trained for like 2 months on it. I mean, I couldn't wait to get there. And then they hit us, for the whole weekend. So that was even more exciting. And they brought us to the arena like probably 30 minutes before the match. So we were ready to go. It was a thrill. It really was.
And when you say they hid you, it's because nobody knew you were coming. There was a handful of the female wrestlers, the women's wrestlers, who nobody knew was supposed to. That's the whole part of the Royal Rumble, I think.
The surprise,
male and females, who's coming out. Yeah. And did they keep you guys away from everybody?
We went into this room and I saw Rey Mysterio and Shane Helms, and I was just like, "What? You guys are here too?"
You were in the secret bunker with you?
I'm like, you're here too. Yeah, it was fun. It was just an exciting night, and it was just a lot of chaos.
Kayla, feel free to jump in if you like.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Okay.
Oh no, absolute. Yeah.
We'll just edit you out.
She's so red. You're so red.
What are you doing? Your first YouTube channel? That sucked.
She hasn't stopped smiling the whole time.
I know. I keep watching her, and I'm like, go ahead and jump in.
But for Raw 25, I was so annoyed when all the general managers came out, and you did not come out.
I felt pretty left out, Kayla. What, is she going to be against me too tonight?
I don't know.
I thought we were friends.
We were. That's what I was thinking.
I just tag teamed her.
Charlie's out for the moment. He's recouping on the side.
I need to pat my head with some paper towels.
And that's why I was like, WWE needs to put her here. Like, I think it was like one of the newer general managers that came out. I think the one for 205 Live.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I wanted Vickie. No.
Yeah,
and then
it was hard to see that.
Yeah.
I mean, because I wanted to be part of it.
And then I told my girlfriend, I'm like, if she's not part of the Royal Rumble, I'm going to be so irritated. Like, she has to be.
You probably said they really hate her, huh?
Well, because, like, my girlfriend doesn't understand my obsession. Like, she likes it, but she likes, like, Roman Reigns and, but she doesn't, like, really understand everything. And so when I was, like, getting annoyed about it, she's like, why are you so annoyed? I'm like, because, like, she's awesome. She has to be there. And then my mom was even like, did she come out? And then when he finally came out, I literally yelled. And my mom was like, I'm guessing Vickie came out. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, it was fun. It really was.
It was such a big. What we're referring to, for those who don't know, was this past Royal Rumble.
Don't look at me.
I know.
Don't look at Charlie. He don't know shit.
I'm not looking at. I just kind of focused my attention over to you. How many times is WWE doing a pay-per-view now? Almost once, twice a month.
It seems like a lot, like twice a month almost.
I think they're getting rid of some of the pay-per-views though.
That's good.
And they're going to start doing more of the
like
combined.
Both brands together.
Yeah. Once or twice a month, there's a pay-per-view for the WWE. And let's be perfectly honest with you, with any wrestling organization, the whole purpose of your weekly episodes are to build up to said pay-per-view. The road to WrestleMania is the catchphrase for the WWE as they get into the WrestleMania, the biggest Super Bowl of pay-per-views, starts with Royal Rumble. And what the Royal Rumble is, and I got to say, Royal Rumble is one of my absolute favorites.
Mine too. Yeah.
Because of the surprise, because of who's coming out next. You start off with two people in the ring, and then every 30 seconds, 90 seconds, sometimes they change it, a new wrestler runs in. You got to throw your opponent over the top of the rope to land, and they're out. This year, 2018, the WWE did, and I don't know why it took so long. In hindsight, they should have been doing this a long time ago, and I mean long time ago. They actually had a women's Royal Rumble match. Mm-hmm. And they've changed the women wrestlers. They're no longer divas, like Vickie was saying. They're no longer the eye candy. They are legit athletic, legit in the WWE, legit athletic. They're into it. They're actually wrestlers. And some of these girls that I've seen here most recently can probably take down a few of the guys.
They're amazing. Nia Jax is one of my favorites.
I love Nia.
Yeah. Yeah, Nia. I call her Nia. I mean silly, but yeah, she's incredible. I love that she's a bigger woman, but her talent oversees everything, and she's such an empowering character.
And a lot of these female wrestlers now are usually family members of older wrestlers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Brother, sister, friends, cousins, or not friends, but cousins of The Rock, the great, all these great wrestlers from back in the day. Some of these are fourth generation wrestlers that are in the ring right now.
Yeah, like Charlotte Flair, she's a third generation or second generation, so there's a lot of talent in the women's division.
And so it was great to see these women do a Royal Rumble, which, again, I think they should have been doing a long time ago. And our dear friend Vickie was entrant number 16 this year.
Yeah. Well, they needed some comedy and break up the chaos.
and the way I see it is at least you weren't the quickest one in and out. At least you lasted a little bit.
I got to stay in a little bit,
right.
Yeah. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Talk to us about, we talked about this earlier today, but how are these newer wrestlers, what are their relationship with Eddie? How do they feel? And most specifically, when you had to sit down with
Sasha Banks.
With Sasha Banks, and I'm getting emotional thinking about it because as soon as that clip started, I got emotional because I knew where it was going. Sasha Banks absolutely loves and adores Eddie and the Guerrero name. You got to sit down with her for 3-4 minute little video.
It seemed longer. It seemed like an hour.
Really?
Yeah, she's really sweet, and she just wanted to thank me just personally and saying thank you for sharing Eddie because she didn't know what she was going to do with her life. I think she was at a really low point, and for her to see Eddie and how he was entertaining the crowd, she knew that she wanted to be that character too. So to see that he changed her life and he just influenced her to, do the character and be the heel, and I think that was just incredible that she's taking after his talent.
How many years has Eddie not been with us?
Well, he passed away in 2005, so yeah, it seems like yesterday. I mean, it really does. I mean, especially being back in El Paso, it just seems kind of surreal. That this great industry's lost him, and it's I don't know, seeing the mural tomorrow and, just having the memories of how the fans loved him, it's going to be pretty special.
And I don't want to answer this for you. Maybe we've already alluded to it a little bit, but I mean, what does it feel like to see, tying everything in, these younger generational wrestlers pay tribute to Eddie? The older fans who still come up to you and say, I remember helping Eddie out at the Coliseum when they were selling tickets, when they were doing this, or, the Guerrero name there. I'll never forget getting chills. The two stories I want to tell is when you came back one time and we were at the Coliseum, there was a house show at the Coliseum, and CM Punk, I think, was still with the WWE.
Yes.
First off, to me, it was hilarious that as soon as you were announced, the crowd cheers and then in an instant boos you.
Yeah.
They caught on right away. You're there being appreciated and then right back into the booing. But I remember sitting with Sherilyn. I think we had tickets close to Sherilyn, and we were there. And I think CM Punk wrapped up the house show by saying, this is Eddie's house. Mm-hmm. This is the house that Eddie built. And he touched the mat, and he gave this 2-3 minute long speech. I don't know how long it was. And I remember looking over at your daughter and tears coming down her eyes. I mean, do you still get affected by that? Do you still feel touched by that when everybody pays their respect?
Of course. I mean, it's sad that he left, us so soon. But to see the influence he had on so many people and how much they appreciated what he did for the industry, and I think he just showed that he's a human too, and to be able to just be himself. I think people appreciated that because a lot of wrestlers aren't. They kind of have this facade and this character they live by, and Eddie was just trying to be who he was, and show the crowd that he had his battles and he wanted to be accepted, just to know that he was trying to be strong too.
Do you think, and maybe this isn't a fair question to ask, you can't answer it, but do you think he would still be wrestling? Do you think he would still be in the WWE at this point? Would he have moved
I believe
on?
So, yeah. Him and Vince were like father and son. I mean, they spent a lot of time together. And if Eddie was home, Vince was calling him and talking to him. So I really believe that Eddie in some aspect would have still been an agent or, a recruiter or something. I think he would have been really good at that.
Undeniably, the physical aspect of it all, never mind the mental and emotional aspect of Eddie, but the physical was already starting to take a factor. Could you see that when Eddie was being dad, when Eddie was being husband at home?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when he would come home, he couldn't move. I mean, his back was pretty injured. He had a lot of vertebrae that were out of place and a lot of nerve damage. And so I saw the effects of that, and, he had his battles with pills and alcohol, and he got sober, but the pain was still there. So he had a lot of injuries, and he was thinking about back surgery. In fact, that week before he passed away, we went to a doctor in Phoenix, and he was really going through a lot of, emotional, turmoil. And does he do the surgery, or does he just quit and find something else to do? So I really believe that God just gave him that answer, that he was going to take him without having to go through any kind of, surgery or thinking about what he was going to do afterwards. And
I guess almost the final heavy duty question, if you will, is, do you think Eddie appreciates what you've done with the name and what you've done with your career here now? I think so. I mean, I respect the industry, and I learned a lot from him. So for me to respect the fans like he did showed me, being with him showed me how to handle myself and how to handle the stress. And I think if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be able to be as good as I was, because I watched him day and night. Was he in the ring with you laughing when you're doing all those crazy things? Do you think he would have approved of all this silly, goofy stuff you did? I really did ask myself, how would Eddie have handled this, scenario or this promo or, dealing with different superstars? Because Eddie would do promos in the bathroom and look in the mirror, or he was always talking on the phone with someone about what they were going to do. So I was always in that lingo all the time. So to know that he was always preparing, I took that same route and always prepared and made sure that I was ready to go out, except for the night that I forgot the promo. And was there, she looks right at me. I know, right? Very, very quickly, as we're approaching the end, do you want to mention what Shaw's still part of the WWE per se because of her husband, Matt? No, she's not part of it. I mean, she supports him and she goes to the shows and whatnot. But Matt's pretty busy with his, involvement. Shaw's actually starting to work with me in Europe for Bellatrix. And so we're both going to be doing general manager duels between the shows, which will be a lot of fun. And she has some projects that will be coming out pretty soon that I can't say, but some pretty exciting TV stuff. You've got some projects coming up here very, very soon. I want to keep this evergreen. I want to keep this so that when people listen, it's not just the event that's happening tomorrow at Lincoln Park at 4 o'clock that you want people to show up for. Yes, thank you very much. I know how to do this. Cough. Yeah, I know how to do this. But you've also got some major things happening coming down the pipeline. If the best way people can follow along with you to find out what those are is... Yeah, Twitter at Vickie Guerrero, and then Instagram as well. And I'll be involved with Wrestle Kings 3 Productions, and it's part of the Veterans Freedom Project. And we're going to be touring all over the United States starting in May, as well as actboom.com, which will be our pay-per-view channel. And we'll be traveling Dubai and to Japan and all over the United States, and we're really trying to get back here to El Paso, so that'll be fun. And if the WWE ever needs you, they'd have to call me first. I'm still pulling for Hall of Fame. Maybe I'm overstepping my boundaries. That's my last straw. That's really my last straw. Yeah. You think that would you go to a Hall of? Would you accept a Hall of Fame induction? Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I would love to be. I would love to be inducted. I don't want to give away too much. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to act like I know. But at least we know and can look forward to you maybe one day being in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, so let's put it out there now. Real? I want to be in the Hall of Fame. It'd be a big mistake if they didn't put you in the Hall of Fame. And soon. Yes. I think I'd have to be really old and just... Not in a wheelchair for real? I would enjoy that. At least I'd be comfortable. I won't trip on my heels on the stage. Vickie and I have been friends for a handful of years now, but it's always a pleasure when we get to hang out. We've literally been hanging out all day long today, and I'm glad you got to be here with Charlie, number one. Whatever. Yeah, whatever. Darn you didn't get a chance to let us do our secret to you. But, anyway, what are you going to say? But Kayla, also thank you for joining us here. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Kayla. I hope this helps out. Thank you for this. This was just awesome. This is so cool. We're gonna boost your numbers right now too. People want to watch your YouTube channel. 44,000 to 44,00002. I'm gonna subscribe as soon as she gives me the address. Wow, Charlie. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. Your YouTube channel? Miss MISS WWE Fan 13. Is that all you have? Do you want people to know any of your other social? Everything I have is Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat,
YouTube. It's all Miss WWE Fan 13.
Okay.
Just make things easier.
And we'll link to those on the show notes so people can see the description of the episode and click on the links to go to her page.
I don't know if this is if I'm allowed to say this, if it's a good idea, but I seriously hope you stay as healthy as you are now and continue to be healthy and nothing ever comes back from you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I really do, and it's a pleasure to finally meet you. The one thing I wanted to tell you, and I think it's the best way, if we could have a visual into wrapping this up, this would be the way to wrap it up for us. When you stepped away from the WWE the last time, 2014, and they made you wrestle in the mud and crap and dog food and the poop, whatever
Thank you
it was.
for reminding everyone.
There was poop in there?
Well, it's supposed to be, right? It was
Well,
supposed.
they put pudding, chocolate pudding, so it would just, be kind of, okay, but they want to make it smell
bad
for the fans that were close by. It smelled bad.
And I saw one video where you were saying goodbyes to the divas backstage, and I saw a couple of them actually smearing it and licking it. Like they were
Layla
actually.
did it. Yeah, I was like, you don't want to do that right now. I was like,
calm down, youngin.
like cutting, like, don't do that.
But the greatest thing about all of that was, as you were making your exit from the WWE officially for the last time, was you turned around to the crowd, covered in this goop and gunk, and you gave the Eddie shoulder salute.
Yes, that was important to me.
And if that's a way, if we could have that image in our minds here tonight as we record this, that's how I would like for you to leave us with the podcast with the Eddie shake.
Oh, sure.
Because that is always... Are you doing video? Can we get a little bit of that, if you know what I'm talking about?
Is it on right now?
Yeah. I think we're going to...
Yeah.
And Chris fell. Chris fell. So,
because he saw my nipples get hard, that's why.
Looks like we're all going back to the hotel tonight.
Yeah, well... Pack up a suitcase, babe. We're going central.
Looks like I'm getting in.
You're listening. I'm actually going to ask you to do one last thing, and you know what it is when I wrap up the podcast here tonight. You're listening to Stay Tuned El Paso, episode number 13. Follow Vickie if you can. She's got all social medias covered. I have people here standing by to get pictures and autographs and things signed. Hashtag STEP. Follow Kayla as well. It's Stay Tuned El Paso. Thanks for listening. Victor Cruz, Charlie Modeno, Erica, who's not here, and Vickie Guerrero wrapping things up for us.
Excuse